Hey you, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We know the trucking world, well, it keeps turning, right? Always ups and downs.
That's for sure. Smooth roads 1 minute, unexpected detours the next.
Exactly. So today we're going to dive into some recent developments, stuff that's making waves.
Yeah, things like new drivers hitting the road, some corporate moves, upcoming rule changes.
Things that could really impact your day-to-day or future planning. Think of this as, well, getting you ahead of the curve.
That's the idea. We've looked at a few different sources, news reports, company announcements, regulatory updates.
And the goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is to kind of pull out the key info, show different angles.
And connect it all back to you.
Yeah.
How does this affect your routes, your business, your time? We want you to feel informed and, respected.
Okay, so let's kick things off with some fresh energy. Wayne Community College, they just graduated 8 folks from their evening truck driving program.
Oh, that's great news, especially with all the talk about driver shortages and, well, the experienced generation starting to retire.
Yeah, and an evening program. That's key, isn't it?
Absolutely. It opens the door for people who are already working, maybe have family stuff during the day, shows real dedication.
You read the local coverage, and there's a lot of excitement. Families, recruiters. It's a positive vibe.
It is. New beginnings are always hopeful.
But then you hear from the seasoned drivers, right? They're welcoming, sure, but there's that knowing look, like, welcome aboard, kid. Now the real learning starts.
Yeah. Classroom's one thing, the highway is another beast entirely. That mix of optimism and hard-won experience is really what the industry runs on.
And for you listening, more drivers means, well, potentially changes in freight movement down the line. Could ease things up, maybe shift availability.
Something to keep an eye on, definitely.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. LCI Industries, they had their Q1 2025 conference call. Might sound kind of corporate, maybe a bit dry.
Well, maybe, but here's why it matters to you. LCI, they make parts, lots of parts, for RVs, trailers.
Stuff that you haul.
Exactly. Components, sometimes the finished RVs or trailers themselves. So if LCI is doing well, it's a sign that part of the industry is humming.
Which means freight.
Right. Their financial health is kind of a barometer for that specific segment.
So listening to what they say on these calls, their forecasts, any supply chain issues they mention.
Yeah.
That's like getting a little intel, yeah.
Totally. Are RV sales expected to boom? That could mean more demand for hauling those units. Are they struggling to get materials?
Might signal slowdowns. Or maybe different kinds of loads becoming available.
And think about the different perspectives here. If you haul RVs, you're obviously tuning right in.
Yeah, directly affects your niche.
But even if you haul, say, produce or flatbed loads, a busy RV market ties up certain types of trucks and drivers. It can have knock-on effects.
So understanding these broader trends helps you plan. Maybe adjust your rate expectations or look at different lanes.
It's about anticipating market shifts, being proactive.
Okay, sticking with industry players. Custom Truck One Source, CTOS, specialty trucks, heavy equipment services. They were at an Oppenheimer conference recently.
An industrial growth conference, that usually means one thing. They're looking for investment, looking to grow.
And why should you care if CTOS gets bigger?
Well, more investment could potentially mean better access to specialized trucks, maybe improved maintenance networks, newer technology filtering down.
So that's the optimistic take, right? Innovation, better tools for the job.
That's one view. Then there's the, let's call it the street smart view. Will growth mean they cut corners elsewhere? Service quality, maybe parts costs go up.
The classic trade-off question.
And the balance perspective is, well, it depends. Depends how they manage it. Do they keep the driver and the fleet needs front and center?
It really drives home that point Hervey from Life as a Trucker makes, doesn't it? Got to see these things from all angles.
Absolutely. Growth in the equipment sector can be good, but you got to watch how it plays out. It could mean better trucks for you or, well, we'll see.
All right, let's shift to something with a very firm deadline. Real ID.
Yes. May 7th, 2025. Circle it, highlight it, put a reminder on your phone.
Because after that date, your standard driver's license. Not going to work for flying within the U.S.
Nope. You'll need that Real ID compliant license, the one with the star or, a passport, military ID, one of the other federally accepted forms.
And this isn't just some minor thing. Think about flying. Orientation for a new gig.
Getting home quick for an emergency, industry conferences, personal vacation.
All domestic flights, any flight within the U.S.
Right.
If your license doesn't have that star, you need to get down to the DMV or whatever your state calls it and get it sorted before May next year.
Otherwise, yeah, you could literally be grounded at the airport gate. Not ideal.
Now, some folks see this as, a good security measure. Makes sense.
Others just see more government red tape. Annoying hassle.
But either way.
The rule is the rule. You got to comply. For truckers especially, not being able to fly could be a major disruption to your work or life. Proactive is the way to go here.
Okay, another rule change on the horizon. This one's about English proficiency. CVSA enforcement is getting stricter starting June 25th, 2025.
Right. And this could potentially lead to being placed out of service.
Now wait, the need to speak and read some English for a CDL isn't brand new, is it?
No, not entirely new. The regs have always required enough English to understand signs, talk to officials, fill out reports. But the enforcement aspect, that's what CVSA is emphasizing now.
So, starting June 2025, if an officer during an inspection feels there's a significant language barrier.
Yeah, one that prevents clear communication about safety, understanding rules, responding to questions, it could result in an OOS order.
And proficient here doesn't mean like writing poetry in English, right?
No, it's about functional communication for safety and compliance. Can you talk to law enforcement? Understand what that road sign means. Fill out your log correctly. That level.
Still, this could be a big deal for drivers whose first language isn't English, and for the fleets that rely on them.
Huge potential impact. Think about freight capacity, maybe even rates, if a chunk of the driver pool faces challenges with this.
It's definitely complex. You've got veteran drivers focused purely on the safety communication aspect.
You've got immigrant drivers maybe worried about fairness, how it's judged roadside.
Fleet managers trying to figure out compliance logistics.
And brokers, shippers wondering about market disruptions. Lots of viewpoints on this one.
Definitely one to watch closely as that date gets nearer.
For sure.
Okay, lastly, let's broaden out a bit. Thinking about highway safety overall, we saw some sources discussing lessons policymakers could take from the trucking industry itself, using some past comments from President Trump on infrastructure as a sort of jumping-off point.
Right, and the idea is, who knows road safety better than the people living it every single day? Truckers and fleets have learned a lot, often the hard way.
Like prioritizing a safety culture. It's not just a poster on the wall. It's constant training. It's management buy-in. It's
Exactly. And preventative maintenance. Fleets pour money into keeping trucks safe because a breakdown isn't just an inconvenience, it's a massive safety risk.
Maybe if our roads got that same level of proactive upkeep. Just a thought.
And technology. Dash cams, collision avoidance, GPS monitoring. Fleets use tech smartly. Could our highway infrastructure be smarter too? Better traffic management, real-time warnings.
And the big one. Driver fatigue. HOS rules exist for a reason.
Yep. Tired driving is dangerous driving, period.
Yet we still don't have enough safe truck parking. It forces drivers into tough spots, sometimes pushing those HOS limits just to find somewhere safe to stop.
It's a fundamental disconnect. You need rested drivers for safety, but you don't provide enough places for them to rest safely.
And these aren't just, fringe opinions. You hear this from everyone. Old school owner-operators, fleet safety directors, company drivers.
They all point to similar things. Fix the roads, use tech wisely, give us places to park, safer trucks, and safer roads benefit everybody.
So wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. New drivers, industry finance, equipment trends, critical deadlines like Real ID, the English proficiency rule, and these broader safety lessons.
The common thread. Change is constant, isn't it? And staying informed, looking at things from multiple angles, like Hervey says, that's crucial.
It really is. Because these aren't just news items. They land right in your cab, affect your schedule, your wallet, your future.
Which brings us back to managing your time.
Yeah, exactly. You're pros at managing time for shippers and receivers. But what about managing time for you?
Right. Investing in yourself. Using that downtime, maybe exploring resources like retirefromtrucking.com talks about. Looking into new skills, maybe even those online income streams using AI or other tech.
It's about creating options, isn't it? Building resilience so you have more control, maybe get out of the truck on your terms down the road, not someone else's.
That's the goal. Feeling supported, respected, and empowered to navigate whatever comes next.
So here's the final thought for you to chew on. With all these shifts happening, all these changes we talked about.
What's one proactive step you're going to take this week? Could be looking into that Real ID, checking out those websites like lifeistrucker.com or retirefromtrucking.com, or just thinking about how to use your off-duty time differently. What will you do to build a stronger future in this changing landscape?